Well, I started at the start. I should start with the fact that I didn't want to be a writer. I just wanted to win over and sex up Rebecca Lee, an intro to fiction professor at UNC Wilmington. This was the late 90s, back when I was still a misguided environmental science major with a major crush and a serious Diet Mountain Dew problem. My thinking then was the same as it is now. Flawed, but like even more flawed. I mean, there's some primitive wiring in the back of my brain, and looks alone can short-circuit it. Add humor and talent to the mix, and I'm done for. Rebecca Lee has all that. Her amazing collection Bobcat was recently nominated for the Story Prize next to Andrea Barrett and George Saunders. And my plan, if you could call it one, is to impress the clothes right off of her. I worked harder in her class than in any other. In fact, I got my first ever C in plant bio that semester because who gives a shit about the genome sequencing of duckweed when there's a pretty lady to will? Fortunately, I wasn't nearly as clever or interesting as I thought I was. I had some of that hormone-fueled stubbornness thing going, so I kept trying and failing for like 2 years. Ended up a double major, graduated magna cum blah blah blah, which qualified me for exactly nothing except a 39.5-hour work week in the garden apartment of a Home Depot in Patchogue, Long Island. Like most jobs I've had, it was fucking horrible. Tedious enough to make death palatable, and they had mandatory pep rallies where people chanted about having orange blood. And I'm not even kidding. They did that. The one good thing about Home Depot was their return policy. You could return anything, even plants after they died. Plants you don't remember the name of because you weren't paying attention in college because you were busy obsessing over Rebecca Lee's sweaters like a pervert. So what I did during the many idle hours I roamed the aisles was exercise some of that flawed thinking, while trying to look just busy enough that customers wouldn't talk to me. At one point I got the idea to mount a flower box on the rear bumper of my Hyundai hatchback. And I filled that flower box with daisies and whatever and drove them around and got called a faggot 3 or 4 times a day. And when the daisies and whatever inevitably died, I returned them and got new ones. I did that a dozen or so times, and eventually I sent Rebecca Lee a picture of my bumper flower box, hoping it would impress her, but I don't think that impressed her either. So I kept writing, which kept not impressing her. So I kept writing, which kept not impressing her. So I kept writing, and eventually I waitlisted my way into the MFA program at UC Irvine, where I found new ladies to try and fail to impress. So the time it didn't fail. And then it didn't fail a few more times, so I kept writing. Of course, over the years of writing Making Nights, there have been stretches when that wasn't enough to keep me going. And doubt took hold, and the writing cost too much, and life got in the way. And then I needed other reasons. Sought them out, stumbled upon them, found them one way or another. Elkin's idea about it being revenge against your bullies, for example, or Hempel's to combat grief, or Gass's because I hate a lot, hard. But maybe more relevant is what Geoffrey Wolff told me after my mother got sick. Use the good luck of bad luck. Use what hurts. If I'm being truly honest, I have to say I started writing, kept at it, because a smart, pretty lady made me want to. I guess that's good enough reason as any, and hope that's represented in the book. But beneath all the flawed thinking, the temper, the bad choices, the drinking and drugging, the violence and the girl chasing, an underlying sense of awe and appreciation when it comes to the people, especially the women in Alby's life. That he loved his mother, that his sister's important to him. But even at his worst, there's plenty of that. He looks back at past girlfriends with the understanding that the ladies who love you, and even a few who don't, have a way of making things better and worthwhile, sometimes even nice. Oh, and I got this. It's my flower box, man.